Welcome to SVG-TV News for Monday, October 15th, 2018. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. A fatal accident along the Langley Park public road last night has resulted in the death of two schoolboys, 15 years and 17 years, both of Magum. Two others were transferred from the Georgetown Hospital to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital due to the severity of their injuries. The accident has left their families distraught. The police are carrying out investigations. Larissa Pugsley-Kidd has more in this report.
Just after 6:50 p.m. last evening, a white pickup reportedly slammed into a parked truck on the Langley Park public road, which resulted in the death of schoolboys Clevique Huggins and Denroy Batiste. Huggins' 15 and 17-year-old Denroy Batiste were among others who were returning from a cookout at South Rivers earlier in the day, which was organized to mark Batiste's 17th birthday, which he celebrated last Friday. The two boys who were in the tray of the pickup were flung several feet out of the vehicle on impact with the truck, which was parked on the right-hand side of the road. The entire mangled body of the pickup was disconnected from the body of the vehicle. A mother was one of the occupants of the pickup with her baby. She is said to be in a critical condition at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, while her baby is reportedly safe. Clevique Huggins was a student of the Georgetown Secondary School, while Denroy Batiste attended the Sandy Bay Secondary School. Huggins' mother, Clarone, at a loss for words this morning, just kept staring at her son's picture on the phone.
What time they left?
After 10 in the morning.
Clevique was her last of four children. Her second son was also part of the cook but had taken a ride in another vehicle. Over at the Batiste's home, family members said it is hard to believe that Denroy will never be home again.
I would have bashed on the hill and a book bag, take up the piece of mutton and just say he going for a cook, but with direction he been going, I don't know. The mommy been inside the mommy, no when he left, because she just take him out for the vehicle because of the driving. My grandson, he was a quiet person, love girl at a joke, don't interfere people. So he's not it's like he was a rude person. He was an alright youth man.
It is very haunting to me, you understand? Because just a day ago, his mother was warning him about Jeep and going on Jeep, you know?
Yeah,
I understand?
Yeah.
So it is very, haunting to me.
Meanwhile, there was a dark cloud today at the Sandy Bay Secondary School as teachers and students mourned the loss of Denroy. One teacher, Stanford Dean, told SVG-TV News that Batiste will be greatly missed.
Clevique was one of my cricketers, under 15 cricketer, played for us last year. And George, one of my favorite cousins, very cool, very quiet, one of them who will listen to me whenever I talk with him. And to see his life just gone like that was rather shocking. He will be greatly missed, both of them. Good student, can't say anything bad about these two boys. Clevique, I taught him, and also he is he's one of those students who I can rely on. I would say, Clevique, I need you to get the ice flask for me, and he will get that organized. Inter-school sports, if I had to go home and get him, I'll go home and get, but he will come, and he will go, and he will perform for us. So it's somebody who I am going to miss, just sports.
The police confirmed that over the weekend there were 11 motor vehicle accidents. Inspector Henry Providence said there were 11 persons at the pickup at the time of the tragic Langley Park accident. Reporting for SVG-TV News, I am Larissa Pugsley-Kidd.
Meanwhile, Inspector Henry Providence is giving the assurance that this country's roads are still quite safe to drive on. He was speaking with SVG-TV today in the wake of yesterday's fatal accident, which was one of 11 reported accidents on the weekend. The traffic cop said, despite these events, the roads are still relatively safe.
We see yesterday that we would have buried two persons who were involved in the fatal accident along the Garden Yard public road, and then yesterday again we are seeing two other persons being killed on our roads. And I know it is of concern to the general public when stuff like this happens, and I want to give the assurance to the general public not to panic. Our roads are still quite safe for us to traverse, and we at the traffic department will ensure that our road remains a safe one for all of us to travel to from work and home and wherever we intend to use the roads of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The police inspector said they take any incident of reckless driving seriously.
That took place yesterday, and the traffic department, that is, we are going to pay a very keen interest into the developments from that accident, and we would ensure, as I said, once there is any evidence of any recklessness or any dangerous driving resulting from what took place yesterday, that we're going to have our input and ensure that a person is brought to the full extent of the law in respect of the accident that took place yesterday.
The veteran traffic cop is also continuing his call for legislation and equipment to adequately deal with the issue of drunk driving.
He is not in possession with any such apparatus. So that is why I made a point that there needs to be some changes to our legislation to give the police the authority, and not just the authority, there is legislation to deal with it, but also the apparatus to go along with it, so police can test persons. And just throughout the region, right in the region here, we are seeing countries in the region where there are breathalyzers and so forth being used on a daily basis. And that is what we are asking for. That is the road that we ought to go if we are to really ensure that the roads of St. Vincent and the Grenadines becomes a safe one. Because persons must realize that when you consume alcohol, it impairs your judgment, and it can create a lot of danger to not just you and your and your passengers, but also pedestrians and other motorists would be put in a bad position as well.
The police are investigating a killing which took place at around 12:25 yesterday morning at Paul's Avenue. The victim, Len Stowe, a 42-year-old laborer from Beckway, received several gunshots about the body and died on the spot. Two other individuals also received gunshot wounds and are warded at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. Stowe's death brings the homicide count to 26. Many residents of St. Vincent and the Grenadines are waiting too long to get medical checks that would provide information whether or not they're developing cancer. This was highlighted last Friday by Dr. Rosalind Ambrose at the annual Pink Cap City Walk in Kingstown, which was held to raise awareness about breast cancer and prostate cancer. Dr. Ambrose, who is president of the Medical Association, said late detection and diagnosis of cancers remain a concern for the SVG Medical Association, and they are hoping to turn around through increased awareness. Last Friday's Pink Cap City Walk and Rally, which ended at Heritage Square and organized by the SVG Medical Association, was deemed a success. Men and women turned up in their pink as they sought to build awareness not only on breast cancer, but also on prostate cancer. Dr. Ambrose said that due to lack of knowledge, women and men are usually diagnosed late, and this has to change.
That patients fail to do well. Breast cancer and prostate cancer as well have many misconceptions, many myths, and many misunderstandings about the disease, the causes, and about who gets it. And therefore, many women and men in our community come forward at a very late stage, where their chances of survival are very, very poor. We wish to encourage all women over the age of 35 to practice self-breast examination. All men over the age of 40 to have medical checks for prostate disease. The research also shows that there is a greater need for patient support, and so our organization and sister organizations like Scorch, the Seroptimists, the Girl Guides, and many others come to our assistance. Ladies and gentlemen, please, your support is so essential. It needs to continue. Help us to make this happen for all those women and men who are affected by breast and prostate cancer.
The association's president said that the SVG Medical Association has been assisting persons living with breast and prostate cancer. She pointed out that the association recorded 11 new cases this year, and these persons will need financial support.
We remain committed to continue to build awareness and provide support to those undergoing one of the most difficult circumstances in anyone's life. In the past year, because of your support, the Medical Association has helped at least 11 patients, 6 of whom are new cases. That's in just 1 year. There's 6 new cases that we know of. Breast cancer remains the second most common cancer globally. It accounts for 1.7 million new diagnoses in the year 2012. This represents a 20% increase in figures from 4 years before that.
The medical doctor noted that breast cancer remains the leading cause of death among women around the world and the second most common cause of death among women in SVG. 2 elderly persons are now homeless following an early morning fire at their home in Caliacor. While the fire service was unable to save the house, they were able to prevent other homes close by from going up in flames. Larissa Pugsley reports.
Just before 9 this morning, fire was seen coming from the top flat of the Young's house in Caliacor, opposite the Anglican Primary School. The fire service was called in, but residents close by said it was too late to save the house, which was occupied by an elderly couple and 1 other woman. Residents said they attempted to save the building by forming a bucket brigade and using hoses from pipes nearby. SVG-TV News spoke with Elsa Young, one of the occupants of the house, who explained that no one was there at the time of the fire.
I got them about 5 o'clock and turn around in the kitchen, and then after we finish we come, and myself and my husband and the next lady who living next to me, we come out and we sit down by the school. So I was speaking and talking about praying for the police, how we had accidents and the shooting and everything. And while we there speaking, the school having calling then, and I calling out and tell the headmistress, play the drum loud so I can help them sing outside. And then somebody come and say they saw the smoke, and eventually when we get up look, we see the smoke on the house. So please, we had no fire upstairs nor downstairs.
And how many people live in the...
Me and my husband and another lady, Miss Glass, with 3 of us. Bedrooms and so on, dining room upstairs, living room upstairs.
Okay,
and the kitchen is downstairs. So we have no fire, we don't sleep with light in it.
Young said she is not sure what caused the fire. She said her husband has a kidney problem and she is worried about his health. The Youngs have lived at the house for more than 40 years, and the elderly lady said she is not sure what will be her next move.
No, I don't work any place. My husband is sick with the kidney.
Okay. Relatives?
Yes, I have a lot of families.
Investigations are taking place into the cause of the fire. Reporting for SVG-TV News, I am Larissa Pugsley Kidd.
Visually impaired and blind persons across St. Vincent and the Grenadines joined others around the world today to turn the spotlight on the white cane, which for this group of individuals acts as their eyes. And they are making a call for the government to lend support, led by the police band and accompanied by sighted persons. The blind and visually impaired of all ages this morning made their way from outside the Peace Memorial Hall to the Solidarity Car Park for a rally in observation of International White Cane Day. Cheryl Adams, president of the organization Voice of the Disabled, which spearheaded today's activity, explained the significance of the event.
White Cane Day is a day that is celebrated in every October 15. And this is where blind persons and partially sighted persons are being recognized. As we know, the white cane symbolizes independence, and it's also represent the contribution that we as persons that are visually impaired, partially sighted, make in our society. So this white cane come like our eyes. We use it to take us around to the different places and areas where we want to. Now tell us some of the...
Adams told SVG-TV News that their desire is to have the government recognize the white cane to help give greater levels of independence to persons who have to use them.
we are calling on the government so they can allocate budgets to include white canes, because white canes should be free. We need training, because if you notice, you don't see a lot of persons with white cane around Kingston all by themselves. Even though they have the white cane, they still have to have somebody with them. But in other parts of the Caribbean, persons like us just go about their business without having to hold on to somebody, because the white canes are already recognized in those areas. So we would like to see our white canes being recognized, trained. Persons that are carrying them should be trained and skilled in using these canes properly.
Adams said, however, there is an increase in awareness among the general population about the needs of the blind and visually impaired. There is much more work to be done. She has highlighted mobility and access among the challenges which they still face.
I think it's bad, because even sometimes I am in Kingston and you'll find a lot of persons still butting into me, and it's just that they can't be bothered. And then we need some, I don't know what we'll call sidewalk, yeah, some sidewalk, because if we have this sidewalk, then we can more focus on the sidewalks, and whenever there are sidewalks, they should not be blocked up with anything. They just should be clear for persons that are visually impaired. Sometimes I figure I want to take a little runaway and come to town and do a little business that my husband and my daughter doesn't really have to know. I should be able to just say to them, I'm going into Kingston. Not that I want to be thing, but you know, sometimes you want to buy a little gift, something special for them. But you still have to bring them along with you. But if the white cane is recognized, if we have these sidewalks and, you know, these things are put in place, then persons like me can come into Kingston and do our business. And the bank should be accessible. It must be and the other business place here.
Adams also used the opportunity to thank the businesses which offered support towards the purchase of 40 white canes, which are currently in use by blind and visually impaired persons. Meanwhile, Stanley Richards, who heads the National Society of and for the Blind, said being sightless is a difficult existence, and he is asking a small favor of the public.
Well, just look out for persons who are blind, and any way you could assist them, assist them. Look out for persons who are blind, and any way you could assist them, assist them. You know, there are people who still assist you. Because the other morning I came out of Ghana, and there was this lady, well, I knew where I was going. I came out of Ghana, and I knew I was going. This lady was just going up the road, and came and pulled my hand and came right across. So I didn't want to tell her, well then, I'm moving across. If you understand of me, that would not have been nice. So, but peer persons, try to assist persons that are blind. Still.
The communities of North Leeward will now be able to access emergency supplies much more easily after natural disaster, as the government officially opened the second satellite warehouse here last week. The warehouse is the second of 6, with the first being opened at Sandy Bay also last week. Speaking at the Rose Hall ceremony, Director of NEMO, Michelle Forbes, said communities in the North Leeward area have a history of being cut off by natural disasters, and the warehouse will now allow the communities a chance to take care of themselves until help arrives.
Since then, we have been advocating for satellite warehouses to be placed strategically with equipment for our most vulnerable communities that are easily cut off, for you to be able to access these equipment and be self-sufficient, so you don't have to depend on the agencies from town, as you would say. North Leeward and North Windward were the first 2 communities selected because by your history of emergencies and disasters, you were the first to be isolated from the country. I remember in 2013, following the December 2013 floods, the first entry by any agency into your community in North Lee was, we came in by the boat, Joshua. I don't know if many of you remember that in Chateaubriand, when we came into the wharf to bring water and some other supplies, because it took us 2 days to get into the community. Now you have this warehouse with some basic equipment and supplies for you to start getting your communities ready until we arrive.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said climate change and its effects are being felt by many. He said if the current trend continues, life in SVG will not be the same for future generations. He added that the government continues to be active to actively lobby for international cooperation on this important matter.
The fisherman will tell you they have to dive further for the conch and for the lobster. These are practical things. So we have to fight globally, because our contribution to global warming is minuscule, but we are on the front line of facing the consequences. And that's why we talk about small state exceptionalism in the speech which I delivered at the United Nations, and elaborating that as an important concept in international relations, and for us to be able to negotiate details within that broad conceptual framework. And those reasons too why St. Vincent and the Grenadines is so active internationally.
Local credit unions have been encouraged to do more to improve the lives of their members. This from the Minister with responsibility for cooperatives, Frederick Stevenson, as he spoke this morning at an ecumenical church service to mark the start of activities to celebrate International Credit Union Week. The week will continue with activities organized by the various credit unions and will include outreach programs and a school education tour. Minister Stevenson said the reach of credit unions is significant, with over 70,000 members here and saving of over $350 million. While commending the credit union movement for providing persons with the opportunity to uplift themselves, he has called for the credit unions to re-examine their interest rates on loans.
Before, and I'm going to say it again, if we want persons to find their platinum lining in the credit union, we've seen a lot of developments. We see young civil servants who are building, purchasing motor vehicles and so on. We have to do a little thing better so that more and more of our persons can develop, not only in buildings and motor cars and so on, but going on to universities and excelling themselves. When they borrow a loan, it's a little tough on the paying back. I am a member of 2 credit unions, and I'm also a member of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Automotive Society. And from time to time, persons would come to me and say, Minister, you know, you have to talk this thing. I hear you say it, but you sound like you don't want to say it, but you must say it for us.
Stevenson said the youths are the future of the credit union movement, and he was pleased by the efforts made to encourage them to save.
I want also to say here, as I said last week when we had the school's thrift saving program, to recognize the young savers in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that in the school's thrift savings program, we have about $1.4 million in savings. And we recognized the achievers just last week. It is important for us to understand that the future of the credit union movement lies in the hands of our young people. And I was pleased to see out of the schools participating in that program last week, there are about 5 or 6 preschools. That too is important.
Meanwhile, President of the SVG Cooperative League, Dwight Lewis, said the credit union movement has a proud history of being safe and reliable institutions which provide necessary services to their members. And he took the opportunity to thank all who played a role in building the credit union movement.
Dedication and commitment of our many volunteers and staff who labor daily to make the credit union movement an outstanding pillar of service and support. We also pay homage to our pioneers who paved the way and built our proud legacy. Fellow cooperators, let us continue working together to ensure that everyone knows the credit union offers a platinum lining. On behalf of the Board of Directors and Management of the Credit Union League, I wish you Happy Credit Union Week and International Credit Union Day. May God bless you.